Welcome to Ayurveda and Spirituality with your host, Alakananda Ma, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and a graduate of a top London medical school. She is the principal of Alundi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style school in Boulder, Colorado. She is a spiritual mother, teacher, flower essence maker, and storyteller. Join us as we uncover the timeless principles of Ayurveda, discover practical tips for enhancing vitality, and explore the deeper dimensions of spirituality that intertwine with the ancient science of life.
Namaste. Welcome to episode 10, Navigating Your Menopause Journey. And this will be a good start. We do also have our self-paced course, Ayurveda for Menopause. The live version will start on September the 4th. That'll be 5 whole classes, 5 whole hour-and-a-half classes with plenty of time to ask questions and develop the themes. So that'll be a really great way to delve much more deeply into the topic of menopause. But today we're going to begin to think about how to navigate your menopause journey. As young women, and we are all young when we're young, we're usually identified with our youth and beauty. So how can we navigate our journey into elderhood? Of course, some younger women have a big wake-up call with something like a breast cancer diagnosis. But for most women, it is the arrival of pre-menopause that is the first whisper of mortality. But on the other side of menopause, a new beauty and new power beckons. Well, the day comes, it's the first time that you skip. It's the announcement. For me, it was when I was 45. And at the time, I was taking a course on spiritual eldering with our Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi, who founded the Spiritual Eldering Institute. In our mid-40s, we were the babies of the class. And it was during that class that I skipped for the first time. So I told the older women in the class, I was very upset. I skipped. Now I'm going to get wrinkles and my skin is going to sag and my bones are going to crumble away and I'm going to get old and I'm going to die. Well, yeah, the due course of time. Yeah. So I told them about it and they said, don't worry. You skip one time when you're 45, it'll come back. And sure enough, it did come back. And when I started skipping again, when I was 46, I was ready to go through the journey, ready to navigate menopause. But navigating menopause means navigating the dreaded hot flashes. And there is no rule about who, when, and how you get hot flashes. If you're Vata, maybe you won't get hot flashes or hardly any at all. If you're Pitta, maybe you'll get an absolute ton of hot flashes. If you'll get Kapha, maybe you'll get some here and there. There is no rule. I remember going through my menopause, teaching a class. It's a class on women's health, and it's a pretty crowded room of students. And someone, without raising their hands, interrupts me and says, how often are you supposed to get hot flashes? And I answered her very sharply, and she was very upset because I got all flustered because there is no rule about hot flashes. Some of us get them every hour on the hour. Some of us get them at random times. I got a hot flash every hour on the hour and every time I changed position, which means that's going to wreck your going to sleep process because as soon as you lie down to go to sleep, you're going to get a hot flash. That's going to wreck waking up because as soon as you wake up, you're also going to get a hot flash. Every now and then I would get a Maha hot flash or a mega hot flash, the kind that totally wrecks you for an hour or so. My mother had talked about having a Maha hot flash when she was driving and having to pull over and wait till it passed. I remember going to a concert with Vinita Gangoli, who's singing I Just Love. There's a concert in the library. We sit down. I'm so excited for the concert. It's about to start, and I get a Maha hot flash. That has basically wiped out the enjoyment of the concert for me because I'm wiped out for more than an hour. So hot flashes can be just a terrible thing. Back in the day, we used to think that hot flashes were pretty much an inconvenience and you ride it out. I started having them at 46 and we're still getting them into my 60s because, in case you hadn't guessed, yes, am I Pitta? Yes, I'm Pitta. So I was still getting hot flashes into my 60s. Um, we now know that women that get a lot of hot flashes are more prone to get later strokes. So if you are getting a lot of hot flashes, do make sure you see your Ayurvedic practitioner. Do come into clinic because we need to deal with your pitta. But here's a few tips that I did find for myself. The rose water spritz. Just spritz off. That is a wonderful remedy for having a hot flash. The bottle of sandalwood oil. Little sandalwood oil on the forehead, the wrists, the breastbone. It does really help. And then my friend Ali Tamim went to a yard sale, and for the princely sum of $1, he purchased for me a pure sandalwood fan. I have to tell you, that sandalwood fan saved my life. If you're having hot flashes, you not only need a spritzer and a bottle of sandalwood oil, but you do need a fan. If you don't have a sandalwood fan, maybe you can put a little sandalwood oil on your fan, but fanning is also tremendously helpful for hot flashes. And of course, along with hot flashes go the night sweats. Waking up, having to change your sleepwear, waking up, the sheets are drenched, throwing off all the blankets or covers, only to have to pull them back on. Oh my goodness. When I was going through all this, I wrote a kind of a Bob Dylan-esque version that I called the menopause blues. Outside, the wind is blowing and it's getting kind of cold, but sweat is running down my face. Am I getting really old? Take my hat and sweater off and put them right back on. I'm flashing and I'm flushing with the menopause blues again. Go to Co-op Market to buy myself some sprouts. Cashier says, "Ma'am, would you like the senior discount?" Blood is rushing to my face. Do I really look so sage? 10% off of my bill and 20 on my age. And I'm flushing with the menopause blues again. Yes, it really is a rough passage to the other shore. It is crossing a turbulent and mighty river. It is rounding the Cape of Good Hope in a small and battered vessel. For one start, what happened to my figure? I was a perfectly normal shape before menopause started. Aha. When we're looking at menopause, we're looking at two axes, your HPO axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. You're also looking at the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. So with the HPO axis, you've got the decline of the ovarian production of estrogen, and with the HPA axis, you've got your adrenals starting to step in to make up for what your ovaries aren't doing. And one of the things they're going to do is produce cortisol and tell your body to put on a little bit more weight, because those fat cells that we don't like to see are taking over the work of the ovaries in producing estrogen. So your expanding waistline is actually contributing to your health, at least up to a point. Uh, so that's what's happening to your figure, but also, where did my brain go? It was around 45 or 46 that I started to notice opening the fridge and wondering what I was trying to get out of it, going downstairs and then standing there and thinking, why am I here? Sometimes even having to go back upstairs in order to remember why I went downstairs. Or well, at least it's some sort of exercise, and stairs are good for you. But that is a very important question. Where did my brain go? I also remember being in the then alfalfa's market, having a complete meltdown because I could not figure out what to buy for my cat. Adrenal stress. It's a huge thing during menopause. Our stress resilience can really go downhill and seem to take the brain down with it. And so make sure all through menopause and after that we do need to follow a brain healthy lifestyle. We need to stay away from the junk food and the sugar. I mean, chocolate, of course, we have to have our dark chocolate. That was, in fact, my main menopause supplement and continues to be my main post-menopause hormonal supplement. But staying away from all that sugar, all those junk foods, all those snack foods, bagged snacks, empty calories, trying to eat some good nutrient dense foods, some good fruits and vegetables, nuts, and so on. Try to get some good exercise, and of course, the importance of having a meditation practice as we navigate this huge transition. And we need to take some time for ourselves. I've been told there's a saying in the South that when a man gets to be about 50, he built himself a pouty house in the back and he goes and sleeps there. Well, if your beloved is a man, maybe it's time for him to build a pouty house. It's certainly time for you to have some opportunities to sleep alone. You could go back and forth, but he should have another place to sleep some of the time where he doesn't have to deal with you sweating and you throwing off the covers and then pulling them back on. He should have some time to sleep on his own, and you can be on your own and follow your own rhythm, which can get very, very different during your menopause. Much as we do tell everyone to get to bed between 9:30 and 10. I've never been able to accomplish that myself, but that is a proper Ayurvedic lifestyle. You may find as you're navigating your menopause journey that you get incredibly creative in that pitta time of night around 10, 11, 12. This is the time when you need to have a really good journal. I like the Peter Pauper journals, and I'm not getting any kickbacks from Peter Pauper, but they're really good quality journals, really inexpensive. I like journals that are unlined, and that's because in the journal, as well as using my pen to write, I can also draw or paint or sketch in that unlined journal. It's a time where you can equip yourself with everything you need to journal in any kind of form. You might want charcoal. I personally like oil pastels. I've been using them since I was 10 or 12. You might want colored pencils. Maybe you even want actual paints. But it's not about making art that's going to be sold or go in a gallery. It's not a competition. It's about you expressing yourself. Express yourself visually, express yourself in words, express yourself in poetry. Again, it's not about being a famous poet. It's about putting your feelings across. It's about the symbols that arise for you and the feelings that you have. So you need to have a place to sleep alone some of the time. You need to have a chance to journal, to draw, to paint, to do what you need to do for yourself. There are many feelings that we have to go through during menopause because menopause is a death. It is the death of the person you've been up until now, the young woman, the fertile woman, the childbearing years, the breastfeeding years. All those things are coming to an end. Maybe you've had children and you can feel pretty good about that time of your life being over. Some of us haven't had any children. Some of us haven't had as many as we wanted to have. So we have to allow ourselves to mourn, to grieve that part of our life, that mothering part of our life. We have to allow ourselves to mourn for our youthful figure and our youthful face. All the Botox in the world is not going to change the fact that you are aging. Your looks are supposed to be different as you get older. So, one set of feelings that we need to deal with during menopause is loss, grief, mourning, as one phase of our life goes, as one aspect of ourself dies. And when we're going through that journey, it's unclear what is going to be the next phase or what part of ourselves is going to come about. Menopause can also be a time when we deal with anger. There can be Amazon woman coming forth because as our estrogen levels diminish, relatively, the ratio of testosterone to estrogen is now higher than it was before. And maybe some of us were always strong about our boundaries and our needs and always assertive, but many of us women have been socialized to be sweet, to be accommodating, to put others first, not to make a fuss and bother about what we need. And during those mothering years, honestly, there often isn't a lot of time to even sleep or worry about what I need. So as menopause comes, we may find this Amazon woman coming forth, and at first she may be really over the top. What I need, and getting angry and getting over assertive. Don't worry. Just go through it with awareness. Have your meditation practice. Go through this part with awareness. You aren't going to be Amazon woman forever. I like to say that when I went through menopause, I cried for 3 months. That's the grief part. I was angry for 6 months. Surprised everyone. And I've never been angry since. I mean, okay, I've been irritable. Some things are really irritating. I've been frustrated because some things are extremely frustrating. But I have not lost my temper or been taken over by anger once those hormonal surges and alternations were over with. I discovered the patience that I'd always had. I didn't know how patient I was when PMS was interfering with experiencing that patience. But once that was over, I didn't need to lose my temper and I didn't need to get angry. It's actually amazing to wake up every day and be the same. Menopause is not really a catastrophe. Menopause means you don't have to worry about getting your cycle. You don't have to worry about packing the proper protection. You don't have to worry about PMS. You don't have to worry about getting in an argument with your beloved because you're going through PMS. You don't have to worry about screaming at your kids because of PMS. Or some women get PMDD. And if you are getting PMDD, make sure you see your Ayurvedic practitioner. We can really help with that. PMDD, you're almost like another person when you're premenstrual. It's horrible. All that is over as your cycle gets to be over and you become that postmenopausal woman. You can experience no more PMS and instead PMZ, postmenopausal zest or postmenopausal zip. You have way more energy because you're not bleeding. You don't have to be anemic. You don't have to deal with cycling hormones. You don't have to deal with pregnancy, breastfeeding, being up at night with the babies, all of those tiring things. That part of your life is over. So you have a lot more energy. And you might think I'm getting old and my energy is going to decline. That apparently will happen eventually. I'm in my 70s and hasn't hit yet. I've still had loads of energy ever since I haven't had to deal with periods and PMS. And it's been absolutely wonderful. And remember, Crones are beautiful too. We have to change our vision of beauty because our vision of beauty is fixated on the beauty of youth. And we all go for the Botox and the pills and the this and that. I don't even know what all it is because I've never gone for it. But to keep trying to look young, root dyeing the hair, doing all these things to try to look young, don't you want your face to reflect your story in all of its magnificent lines, your figure that's a little fuller, your breasts and belly that are a bit more saggy? This is part of the beauty of the crone, her sparkling silver hairs. Yes, there is that moment when you look in the mirror and you turn around, you're like, Mom? I didn't know she was in the bathroom. I thought she was thousands of miles away because you think it's Mom that looks like that. It's Mom that looks elderly, not you. But yes, Crones are beautiful too if we can shift our vision of beauty to allow for the soft aging process and that kind of beauty. And we can also find our new brain. As we go through menopause, yes, I still open the refrigerator and wonder why I opened it. I still go downstairs and wonder why I'm there. It hasn't particularly gotten worse, but it's been about the same ever since the beginning of menopause. But we maybe it's going to take us longer to remember a name. I remember wanting to say the name of the Secretary General of the United Nations and only being able to remember Utant, who had been a much significantly previous Secretary General of the UN compared to the time period that I was trying to remember that name. It can get harder to remember names. It can take longer to remember words. We may not be so quick at certain things, but we have a wonderful and magical new brain because our body is producing very high levels of LH and FSH, trying to say to the ovaries, come on, come on, come on. And the ovaries say, I can't do this now. So we go on producing those high levels, and it's like a truth elixir, a wisdom elixir. It's absolutely amazing. Enjoy the new brain that is more intuitive and has more wisdom. Enjoy the new outrageousness of being older. It's pretty interesting. I think someone wrote that poem, When I Am Old, I Will Wear Purple. Enjoy that beauty of being older, as some people like to say, growing old disgracefully. When we become the crone, it's not a black and white thing. The crone doesn't come alone. With the crone is the little girl. Little girls don't menstruate any more than crones do. You can rediscover your little girl and your playfulness and your fun and your wonder. With the crone is still the maiden in all her magic. You can never lose your maiden. And the mother. You probably still have people, if you've had your own children, you probably still have people who call you mom, as well as people who call you grandma. You still got that mother. You can still nurture. You can still feed. You can still give. You haven't lost those other parts of you. They're all there, but you have this new part, this crone who is wise, this what Reb Zalman calls elder mind, this wisdom of experience that comes when we have seen the way that things unfold. We have seen the time that it takes to grow. So your new brain awaits you, your new energy awaits you, your new self awaits you as you go through that stormy passage of menopause.
Thank you for tuning in to Ayurveda and Spirituality with Alakananda Ma. We hope today's exploration has ignited a spark of curiosity and insight within you. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. For more enlightening discussions and practical wisdom on Ayurveda and spirituality, subscribe and join our Facebook group, Alundi Ayurveda. To allow us to continue sharing valuable content, consider donating to Alundi Ashram. The links will be in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk the path of Ayurveda with grace and embrace the light of spiritual wisdom in your journey.
Trayam